And we're back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050, WTKA, online at WTKA.com. We're live here inside the Suburban Chevrolet Make the Choice studios. This segment, we get a chance to catch up with Michigan basketball coach John Beilein, taking some time out of his morning before he heads over to a meeting to chat with us. Coach B, good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Glad.
It's a great day. The sun came up early today. It's a great day.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, and I heard you got a chance to listen to some hockey right here on 1050 the other day.
Yeah, I absolutely did. Yeah, it was great. And then we went into the office, and at least I knew that we were into a shootout, so we were able to watch the shootout.
Yeah, Coach. It was certainly, when you look back on Sunday's game, a tale of two halves, and I don't know what it is. And you mentioned after the game that you're going to go back and look at some things. Was it the early start? When you look back at the film, what did you notice? You credited Wisconsin. I want to start out by doing that.
Good.
But you said credit them, but we helped. How did you guys wind up helping them when you look back at the film?
Well, they obviously, again, they were on their A game. I mean, they just did everything. Whether it was Decker hitting runaways, Kaminsky just playing great in the post. I mean, we handled him at their place fairly well. They just didn't make many mistakes. And we didn't. We had one of those type of games where we've been, some guys have come in off the bench, made shots. We've had some guys make shots from the very beginning. We took care of the basketball. None of those things happened. And I'm not the finger pointing coach. I'm one that says, okay, we're going to get better, and we didn't play our best. And then there's a variety of reasons why we didn't. We're going to work at those.
One of the things that the players pointed out, a few different players pointed out after the game, is they didn't feel like the intensity or the effort was there at some point in the game. Whether that's true or not, I'm curious. In the past, you've talked about with young teams there being an issue when things don't go well on the offensive end, it bleeding over to the defensive end. Do you see that being an issue at times for your team?
That's always an issue. I mean, I don't care what level you're at, and only the better players and the more experienced ones get it. So there is, we had just come off a great game at Ohio State, and everything went well in the second half, and all of a sudden things were going well, and you got to turn around and you got to play at the other end. And this team is just, it's a different Wisconsin team. They still guard you, but they're explosive offensively because they got four guys that can really shoot the ball. I've never seen it with five starters all within a positive assist-turnover ratio. I mean, 5, even in the big guys. So if you double up, you're going to give up 3-point shots. It's an incredibly talented offensive team that was just played great. So we couldn't afford to come down and worry about the last shot, or I was just fouled, or all these things. No, we got to come back and guard them, and we didn't do that well enough.
What is it about Karras, Coach, that we've seen in some of these games where you struggled offensively? He's been a guy that you've been able to lean on despite what might be happening elsewhere. Like in the Wisconsin game, he was able to get it going. What is it about him that has allowed him to do that?
We're so pleased with his progress. He just keeps getting better every day. And, I mean, the last 5 games, he's our leading scorer by 4 or 5 points. And he just is he finds ways to get to the basket. He's really a good outside shooter. I don't think people realize how good an outside shooter he is. And he's just been able to score points. He's one of the guys that can really get his own points. He'll find nooks and crannies to get in there, or just get his shot off with a quick release. So just love how he's playing, and he's getting better all the time, and he's so darn young. I really love what his future looks like.
You've one of the buzzwords that you've mentioned a couple of times this season is downhill, and ability to get downhill in some of the games where things haven't gone well offensively. You said, hey, we didn't do a great job of getting downhill. Now, Karras did, but what is it that you see from other teams that, kind of disallows others from getting downhill in games like the one on Sunday?
Well, here's the thing, is this game has changed this year. At the beginning of the year, any physical bump was always a foul, and now it's a little bit back where they'll give you a little. When we get a bump, we got to continue to drive through the bump. We cannot give in there. And Karras will get bumped like crazy, and he'll keep going. The rest of us got to continue to get better. That when the defense is there and you still have some leverage, keep going north. Don't pull up for an in between jump shot there. Get to the rim and put pressure on the rim, and then find open people if you can't get all the way to the rim. So these are just things we work at daily. And with playing Michigan State, Saturday, you better be able to drive the ball against physical contact.
Now, one of the things that you said leading up to that game is, preparing not only physically but mentally. Again, buzzwords I've heard from you in the past: yes face and positive reinforcement. And you can see frustration kind of manifest at times with certain players. You can only do so much as a coach. In the past, you've been able to look to guys like Zach. You've been able to look to guys like Josh and Corey Person. Who's that guy, or who are those guys on this team that you look to from a player perspective that kind of help root that kind of thing out or pick guys up?
Well, I think it's our captains that have to do it, and it would start with the junior and senior, John Horford and Jordan Morgan. I mean, they have to, have that type of leadership to speak to their teammates, to make sure that we do not dwell in our mistakes and move forward. And they've really done a good job with that. And we have to, the more experienced players really get it. I mean, what Jordan and John have in their 4 years and 5 years here have seen just a remarkable change in our toughness and our ability to win on the road, the whole deal. And so they get it. So those are the two we probably lean on the most right now, because they've seen it all. They've seen the whole perspective from a 1-6 start way back in their freshman year to where we are today.
We're talking to John Beilein for a couple of minutes more here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050, WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Very thorough in your analysis, Coach. You look at everything. And so I know you were trying to find themes, consistent themes to some of these early games that you played of late. Did you sense anything? Did you change anything up in preparation for this upcoming early game?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna try and change a little bit. We usually stay we stay at a hotel on the night before a 12:00 game. It keeps everything nice and concise. So we'll do that again, but maybe just change what time we eat, how much we cover in the morning, and how much we cover the night before. Just try and change the routine a little bit. This routine's been very good to us in the past. It hasn't been as good, and maybe it has nothing to do with the routine. But you're crazy if you don't try and change something, knowing that we haven't played well, especially either way, offensively or defensively in some of those halves. Now, as I said before, we were playing really good teams. We're talking about Arizona and Iowa, at Indiana, and then again with the other day against Wisconsin. It didn't bother us too much during the year against some of the guarantee games, but it bothered us a little bit. So we're always up for change. If you don't change, you won't get better.
Right, so big game coming up against Michigan State this Sunday. Goes without saying, no guys are going to be emotionally keyed up for the game. You got to get out of here, Coach. So I'll ask you one last question. Look, you're regarded by many in your profession as, when you look at the top list of X's and O's coaches, you're all over it. I mean, they regard you as one of the top coaches in the game, and we can't ever get you to talk about that. So maybe you can talk about one of your assistants making a top list. I don't know if you saw this, but on the list of the 100 sexiest coaches in the country, LaVall Jordan actually made the list, Coach. I don't know if you checked that out. Did you see that?
If you said Bakari Alexander, I was going to fall out of my chair.
No, Val Jordan actually made the list, Coach. I caught that this morning.
Who does these lists?
I have this writer from collegeinsider.com. Came up with this list.
This is sexiest assistant coaches?
No, because Greg Campy's on it, so it's just sexiest coaches, period, Coach.
Okay. All right. Boy, some people have a lot of time on their hands. I'm telling you what.
As long as it translates to recruiting, that's all that matters.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, well, that's good. I'll make sure I bring it up to the team today in front of him.
All right, Coach. No, you got to get to a meeting. Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, that was John Beilein joining us. His staff renowned for a number of different reasons. They've been able to do things on the recruiting trail. Great recruiting staff, and great compliment to him when it comes to coaching the team. Well, wow, Val is we don't call him Billy D for no reason, Ira. The Billy D of the assistant coaching profession on the basketball side of things. Yeah, Val says all the time, don't let the smooth taste fool you. 8:55 on a Wednesday. Here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA. Now, Ira, I'm not one to judge the sexiness of the men's basketball coaches, but there seems to be a kind of a gulf, if you will, between Greg Campy and Val Jordan. Am I off base here, noticing that there seems
you don't know who actually made the list?
There? You know?
You don't know who actually made the list, but College Insider is, I mean, it's not just some random website. They do the mid-major top 25 every week. That's a website that coaches and people in the business use. So that list must be legit.
But Campy and Val, I'm sorry. I don't know. That's Billy D and I'm trying to think of who would be the opposite of Billy D out there. It's
Billy D and Jay-Z.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
But that's just look. That's not money.
I hear you. 8:56 on a Wednesday morning here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com.